So energy drinks in general, they have what? They have caffeine, they have taurine, they have some sort of list of vitamins. Obviously, they have water. They have the sugar alcohol or sugar or cane sugar in any of those formats. Any other things they generally tend to have?
For the most part, if you're looking for what makes an energy drink, that's it. It's literally just water, taurine, and then your caffeine source. For the most part, that's guarana seed. The reason they use guarana seed, by the way, is because it's even more caffeinated than coffee, and
Oh, okay.
the how do I call this? Like the impact of caffeine on your body is different than that is of coffee. So if you think about coffee and tea, for example, when you drink a cup of coffee, you will feel the energy right away, and it will be sustained for a long time, and then you start to feel a crash a few hours later.
Hmm.
But when you drink a cup of tea or 2 cups of tea to get the same amount of caffeine, the feeling of caffeine is more gradual. It's not as intense. You don't get the jitters.
Yeah.
So both caffeinated drinks, both have caffeine, but the way their caffeine interacts with your body and impacts your energy is different. And this is exactly why they use guarana seed, is how that caffeine that comes from that plant interacts with your body and the rest of the ingredients. So we always talk about how all of these products that we talk about are made, and for
Yeah.
energy drinks, it's quite straightforward. All you have is a bunch of powders. That's the ingredients we've been talking about. For the most part, all of them come in powdered format. They come in big super sacks, and they get dumped into a mixing tank. So that mixing tank will have water added to it first, and then all
Yeah.
of these ingredients will come in along with the flavor. And if you need colorant, you would add it there, and you mix it up for like 15, 20 minutes at a certain speed to make sure all the ingredients are mixed properly. And that's pretty much it from a making perspective. You still now obviously still have to cap it, you have to carbonize it, you have to pasteurize it, but you've had your energy drink completed at this stage. Very simple process. You can
Okay.
even make that
So
stuff at
they,
home actually.
I guess you can. I mean, now we have Soda Stream, right? I mean, you could do whatever
Yeah.
you want and put it under your Soda Stream and
Yeah.
carbonate.
I've seen YouTube videos people making Red Bull at home. Like it gets
Yeah,
tricky with how you
I don't
get
see
some
why
of these
not.
ingredients, but you can make that at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Okay, so they put it into a mixing tank. They have everything. Do they carbonate it first before they pasteurize, or do they pasteurize and then carbonate? What's next?
So it depends on the process that you're following, right? So if you're doing the pasteurization before packaging, then you would do mixing and then pasteurization, and then you cool it down, and then you carbonize it, and then you fill it.
Okay.
You want to make sure in that specific process step that we just mentioned, you want to make sure you carbonize after pasteurization, because once you go pasteurization and you elevate the temperature of the product, you lose a lot of the fizziness because carbon dioxide will just escape more easily. So they typically cool it down, goes through like a heat exchanger that chills down the product to a lower temperature, and then inject the carbon dioxide and then pack it. However, if we're talking about the other alternative process where you pasteurize it in the can, you can do that anywhere after you've mixed it. So you can mix it, carbonize it, you can pack it, and then pasteurize those cans. And another thing to notice here is that a lot of those drinks, there's ranges to the fizziness. So if you are thinking of a Coca-Cola, for example, it's a lot more fizzy than if you're drinking any energy drink. That nowadays, like Celsius, it's very mildly fizzy. So you can also control the amount of carbonization that you inject into your product to control the taste and the experience of the consumer.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And then so then your liquid is now in ready form. It goes to filling, and then they just fill it in a ready-made can, or what happens?
So the cans will come in pre-molded into the shape that you see, and a lot of them, especially with the smaller sites like Celsius, where they have a lot of flavors going on, they would
Okay.
have the can even labeled and has the print on it already. and all they do is
Oh,
just
okay.
fill it and then press the seal on it, similar to what we talked in SEEP with this with the canned soup when we talked about this
Okay.
double seam situation.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same mechanism that ensures that you seal it and remain sealed.